So are wedding flowers worth it? Obviously, I'm a little bit biased. I'm a floral designer, so absolutely, I think they're worth it. But this video is not about me, it's about you. So let's talk about it. Hey guys, it's Marie, your trusted flower fairy, and today I wanted to talk through some things to consider when you are determining what wedding flowers means to you. So you might be in the stage of planning a wedding, or maybe you just got engaged, or maybe your wedding is getting really close. So now it's time to decide, what are you going to do about decor? And of course, as I'm talking to you about it, we're gonna make an arrangement. And yeah, so the first thing to consider if you are considering what wedding flowers means to you is your aesthetic. So what final aesthetic would you like your wedding pictures to look like? What would you like the feel to be like? For example, if you are getting married like in the woods or somewhere there's a lot of nature, you might not need as much flowers, right? But if you want a really grand church ceremony, flowers might make a big difference. So I say first thing to really consider is to think about the aesthetic you would like associated with your wedding flowers and your wedding photos, and what role those flowers play in that. And the second thing I will say is to really think through the symbolism of flowers for you. So flowers can mean so many things to so many different people. It could be a memory of your grandmother or nothing. You know, not everybody has a romanticized view of flowers. So what does flowers look like for you in terms of symbolic representation? And with that being said, you can really determine, like, do I really want to spend on this? Is it something that's really important to me? Maybe it's a single flower that's very important to you and you would incorporate it in your bouquet, for example, and just keep it that simple, or you want to go over the top and create a whole garden. So it's totally up to you, and what symbolic representation does flowers represent. And the next thing, of course, is budget, the big B word. We can't talk about flowers without talking about budget. And the rule of thumb, I believe, is to allocate 10 to 20% of your wedding budget, your overall budget, to your flowers. So if flowers are very important to you and you want a lot of them, I say go higher. So yeah, allocate 20% of your wedding budget to flowers. If flowers are not that important to you, it can be even less than 10%, right? So definitely think how much you want to spend on your flowers, because it can get very pricey, as you know. And thinking through budget, that can also think, you can have some options. Like, do you want to DIY your flowers maybe? Do you want to use artificial flowers? Do you want to rent artificial flowers? Do you want to hire a florist? There are a lot of options, but thinking through your budget will help you determine what's the best option for you and understanding is it worth it to you flower-wise. And the next thing I will say to consider is alternatives. So flowers are not everything, even though I'd like to think they are. But there are other options, right? So you can have greenery, for example. You can have candle decor. There are other options you can explore for decor that are non-floral, and maybe something sentimental like photos, just different things. I've seen like people use like different knickknacks to recreate really beautiful symbolic things that's important to them. I once attended a wedding at a library that didn't have a lot of flowers, but the way they placed the books were really interesting and beautiful. So I say think of alternatives that might be more important to you than flowers, because that could help you gauge, like, is this investment worth it? And if so, what does that look like? Okay, so I'm making a really pretty fall inspired arrangement for an amazing client, and it's Thanksgiving is very near, so by the time this video is uploaded, I think Thanksgiving would have just passed. So I wanted to make something kind of Thanksgiving inspired for her, and I hope she loves it. Okay, so the next thing to consider is the practicality of flowers. So again, if you don't want to spend a lot of flowers and you don't want to, let's say, hire a designer or a florist, guys, please think about the practical aspect of how you would get flowers to the venue. So you really have to make sure everything is like done well. So if you're going to DIY it, make sure you take your time to really plan it out and do that well. Make sure you have your whole team to help you put it together. I actually have a video related to this, which I'll place the link down below so you can check it out. But also think maybe using artificial flowers is a good option, right? Or using big branches, things that are in season. Also keep things very low cost. And I'm a branch girl. I love, as you can see behind me, I always have branches around because they add so much elegance and drama, and they're cost effective. So I like branches. So think of what practical element you can use to create a beautiful moment with your flowers without maybe breaking the bank, or maybe break the bank and make it practical. So ultimately, deciding if wedding flowers are worth it to you really comes down to your values, your preferences, and your budget. Honestly, I think these are the key things to remember. What's the spectrum of flowers being worthy to you? What does that look like? So keep those things in mind, and of course, download my wedding flower checklist, which I'll also put a link. It's a free checklist to help you plan your flowers. You can really see everything you might need, from obviously your bouquets, your boutonnieres, but also things you might not consider. So check it out in the link below, download it, and let me know if it's useful to you. Okay guys, here we go. Check this beauty out. Yeah, very organic. I wanted something that was kind of like Thanksgiving, but not in a cheesy pumpkin way. So I think the colors are very warm, and it's giving me a true fall vibe, and a pop of green, of course. And I really like this gold vase here. So yes, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this video and these flowers, of course. But yes guys, please go out and create and enjoy the flowers, experiment with them, have a lot of fun, and I'll see you in the next one.